The Star Wars franchise seems to be very expansive past Episode 9 and the first live-action TV series, The Mandalorian, as a lot of people, including myself, am very curious about the fourth Star Wars trilogy. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, as you all know, Episode 9 is not the end of Star Wars, however, it is the end of the Skywalker saga. And a lot of people would argue on whether or not it is a good or bad thing to actually move away from the Skywalkers permanently and focus either on a new family or new bloodline, or just a new set of characters in a new Star Wars trilogy. Now, we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm's priority right now is, of course, the new trilogy being developed by the creators of Game of Thrones, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about the Star Wars franchise when it comes to specifically the fourth Star Wars trilogy itself. What's really exciting is that Disney plans to format this whole entire series of Star Wars films as having one big title and dividing it up into parts. So you can imagine the whole entire trilogy having a title in itself. Then each movie in itself will be a Part 1, a Part 2, and a Part 3. Now, this is, of course, one format style that Disney and Lucasfilm are looking into doing for the new Star Wars trilogy by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. So, with that being said, it's kind of like The Godfather in a way. If you look at the Godfather trilogy, the whole entire trilogy is just called the Godfather trilogy. However, each and every movie is divided up into parts. You have Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. Now, Disney and Lucasfilm are looking into actually marketing it in this sense, as opposed to the Roman numerals. Now, that's another one that they're looking into. They're looking at the possibility of labeling them as episodes 10, 11, and 12, or just giving the whole entire trilogy a single title, and then just having parts, Part 1, Part 2, or Part 3. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I would much prefer to have them use the Roman numeral format, because that's what fans really do associate, you know, the Star Wars franchise with the actual major movies that are not standalone films. So if you have a new trilogy coming out, I think it's best to go with Star Wars Episodes 10, 11, and 12. Now, not only that, at Star Wars Celebration on April 11th, 12th, and 13th, we're going to be learning more story details about the fourth trilogy, on whether or not it really is going to be based within the Old Republic era, or a completely new era that will be made within the mythology by Disney and Lucasfilm. And also, aside from the fourth trilogy, what is really exciting is that on April 11th, we're going to be getting footage of Star Wars The Mandalorian, the first live-action TV series that takes place 3 to 5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi. So that's truly exciting as well. Now, as far as this fourth trilogy goes, I gotta say, when it comes to the overall format of a trilogy, it really is important in a sense to really do things right to what fans are already used to. You know, if you look at the Skywalker saga, we are all used to episodes, right? We're all used to looking at them as episodes 1 through 9. However, with this trilogy, they are looking at the possibility of labeling it as Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3 under one single title. So, for example, let's say if it is the Old Republic, let's say hypothetically they call it Star Wars The Old Republic. Then the first film would be Part 1, second would be Part 2, and then Part 3. So, with that being said, I gotta say, I mean, if they are to go through the part route, I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. It doesn't feel Star Wars-y to me. When I look at Star Wars, I think that it would probably be better to do this in the form of either chapters or episodes. That to me sounds more like a Star Wars trilogy, if they were to divide it into chapters and episodes as opposed to just parts. Because parts, I look at, franchises like, The Godfather and stuff like that, and other ones out there as well. If you look at everything else that has been happening, though, we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm really are trying to expand past Episode 9, and honestly, I think it's going to be a very hard task to complete. It is a real big risk, The future of this franchise really does rely on the success of Episode 9 and how well it really does. So, if we look at Episode 9, let's say if it fails, what's going to happen to this new trilogy that David Benioff and D.B. Weiss are going to start writing, by the way, in just 2 months from now? as of right now, we know more about TV series than we do movies. We got The Mandalorian coming out, we have the Cassian Andor series coming out as well, and they're working on 2 other live-action TV series that are currently unannounced. So that's a total of 4 live-action TV series. By the way, they're all limited. They're going to only have 1 season per show. So these are all limited series, and they're not going to really expand that far. So that's one way to look at it. But as far as this new trilogy goes, guys, what do you think about this? Do you think that the part format is better, or do you prefer the episode with the Roman numeral format? And honestly, I cannot wait to see the story details and exactly what this new trilogy is going to be called at Star Wars Celebration on April 11th of this year, as well as the first set of footage of The Mandalorian. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.